Hello everyone and welcome back. So before I get started on this video, just a quick update on my Peace of Mind program. I have done everything that I need to do as far as videos, and now I just need to create a couple of resource pages. I imagine that'll be maybe a couple days basically, and after that I'm going to be releasing it somewhere. Again, I need to look into where I'm going to be putting this program. I'm looking right now at Udemy, and probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer this to certain friends or to my friends on Facebook and their friends. Probably I'll be using Google Drive if that's possible. I know it'll be a little bit close to the limit on how many gigabytes I have. So I'll have to look into that and I'll keep you posted anyways. So the topic of this video here is the reoccurring experiences. So there's many of us that we are keeping on experiencing the same things over and over again. And I just want to make myself clear that here I'm mostly going to be talking about unpleasant experiences. So if you're having pleasant experiences, this in a sense does not apply, as what I'm going to be talking about is about how we're unconscious on how these patterns are repeating. So many of us we keep on attracting the same experiences over and over again. And what the main point here is that we attract how we feel about ourselves. So in that case where I said that people that are happy or they have a high self-esteem and they don't lack any self-love, they will probably be repeating some pleasant experiences where there is nothing absolutely wrong with that, and I believe that that's what we all should strive for at the end, is pleasant experiences. But what I'm talking about is that something's along this example here, that psychology knows that if you have a pattern of being in relationships with abusers, that if you bring that person in to a lineup to look at 10 individuals or less, and if there is one abuser out of that lineup, that the person that's used to attracting abusive relationships will pick that abuser, and they don't know anything about anyone in that lineup. They haven't talked to any of them. They don't know any information whatsoever. And some way, somehow, that abuser picks the person that usually is abused will be picking the abuser. There is something about this where like I said, we attract how we feel about ourselves. And in this case, the person that is used to being abused will pick the abuser because they believe that's what they deserve. So these repeating patterns are showing us that we have not learned from our experiences. So that person that is constantly attracting these abusers, they are in a sense unaware of this pattern. And in a sense, this pattern is trying to get your attention so that you can fix things within you that makes you repeat these same mistakes. And if we were on the outside and we notice that this is one of our friends that is stuck in one of these patterns, we need to first realize that we cannot fix this for them. They are, in a sense, choosing this, but for them it is unconscious. they don't know that this is a pattern that they keep on repeating. They probably have a very pessimistic view on life, and they probably believe that most people are abusers because that's basically all they experience in their relationships. So until they have a realization, there's nothing really we can do for these people. Trying to force them to see the error of their ways will only result in them hating us. And at the end, this is about self-sabotaging. This speaks a lot of how we have a lack of self-love for these people if they're keeping on attracting abusers. It is pointing towards a lack of self-love, some self-sabotage. And it is quite difficult to talk to these people about how this is actually their choice, as they are stuck in a perception, and until they realize that they are the ones that are creating this, we are in a sense hopeless in helping them. This really, for me, points out that how we get in our own way. We are often the ones that are creating this mess, and we're really, as I said, self-sabotaging our whole life. So if you're somebody that basically does not like their job, and then once we lose our job or we quit, we're very likely to find a similar job, and then we're probably going to experience the same things. And this is what happens when we're wounded, when we're in pain. We often make bad decisions. And this goes back to when I was in university, and there was a time where my psychology professor was talking about how if someone ventures into a sketchy alleyway, and when this person goes into the alleyway, they get murdered. My university professor said that that person that ventured into that alleyway, they're not responsible for their death. That the people that murdered that person are the only ones responsible. And although I agree with the part where the person did not pull the trigger, if it was a gun or he didn't stab himself, but there's something to be said about looking out to get into trouble. And if we're going to be honest with ourselves, and if we're going to be taking responsibility for our life, we should question if we're heading into alleyways like this, and if we're looking out for trouble, and then if we find the trouble, then we can in a sense play the victim and say, oh my goodness, the world is a terrible place. Well, what were we looking to do in that alleyway? Why did we venture into a place where it was sketchy? You know, it doesn't take somebody a genius to figure out that a dark alleyway in a dirty city, that alleyway might not be a safe spot. And of course, again, I don't want to say that that person is solely responsible for, getting murdered. But when are we going to take responsibility for our bad decisions? There's so many people that are looking for a scapegoat where we're trying to point fingers at other people that are to blame for our misfortune. And this is very much a victim mentality where we don't want to take responsibility for our bad decisions. And then we rather blame others, life, or perhaps God for running into trouble. I'm wondering how long it'll take for humanity to realize that the life that we're living is our own doing. So if we're not happy, if we're picking abusers, if we're stuck in miserable jobs, that this is us that decided to choose this life. And if we come to that realization, then we can say, I don't have to make these same mistakes over and over again. All it takes is a realization, a moment of clarity where we see that we're creating our own problems. And I'm hoping that people are going to start realizing this more and more, that this life that we're living, it is reflecting how we feel about ourselves, is reflecting how good choices that we're making. And if we want a better life, we're going to have to make better choices. But of course, if we don't have any self-esteem and we self-sabotage, we're very unlikely to make better choices, because we will pick we will pick things that we believe that we deserve. So I'm hoping that people can become more aware of how we are creating this reality. And this life is filled with endless possibilities. We can have very pleasant experiences, and we can have very unpleasant experiences. So which one do you prefer? Which ones are you going to be aligned with? So that's it for now. And I'm wondering, what do you think about this? Am I wrong by believing that we are creating this mess that we often are experiencing? Is it an outside force that is making us jump into abusive relationships? Is it us that are doing this? Or maybe it's a combination of both. I don't know. I know there's a factor of luck and chance, and that always comes into the picture, but the Irish say that luck is knowledge and opportunity. If you have an awareness, some knowledge, and you see an opportunity come, you will make your own luck. I think this is very aligned to what I just said. Alright, so like this video if you liked it. Comment if you feel like commenting. And until next time.